Hello, everyone. This is Max, and it has been a long time, too long of a time. This is Max Bytes, my mini podcast that I do for all my followers. And I've done this pretty frequently now. I think I've been doing these now for about 2 years. No, it's longer than that. I don't know. Started on Rumble, back on YouTube. Anyway, it's great to hear everybody. It's great to be back, and I hope it's great to hear my voice again. I hope everyone's having a blessed week and a wonderful time. It's been a very interesting period, and so I've got a couple of updates, and I figured I did have a ton of anxiety based questions about things going on in the world. So anyway, I figured I would just give some of my analysis to everyone on it. Max Bytes, like I said, is a mini podcast, and it is a really meant to uplift and illuminate, and hopefully offer some clarity to people that listen in. And anyway, my name is Max, and welcome, and I'm happy to have you here. Um, so first off, just an update on me and everything. So it's been a while since I did a Max Bytes. Just so you all know, and I think a lot of people that follow me on Twitter and on Telegram know this, but my mom had cancer, and that was something that I was dealing with the whole family was dealing with. She was, of course, enduring, and this was something that was actually ongoing for the better part of the year, but it became extremely serious early part of summer, kind of take it really just coming out of the how serious this was. It really just was like a totally out of left field, the turn it took. And she went in for a surgery. She had a number of doctors, and she went in for a major surgery. And then I have to just say, praise the Lord, thank God, she's completely healed and cancer free right now. So this was a real dark time in the family. Hadn't had a episode like this in about almost 2 decades in my family, and so it was. I noticed. I know a lot of you. So I'm just becoming a little personal here. I know a lot of you that have been putting in prayer requests with my team. And if you want to do that, by the way, just reach out to any of my angels or warriors. Those are my assistants. Jackie handles that. You can put in a prayer request because I literally have thousands of people pray for people's prayer requests. So feel free to do that. And you can follow me on Telegram at Maximus _ the number 4 EVR, my official channel. You can follow me, and same on Twitter, and the links are in the description. And you can reach out to any of my assistants. Jackie does handle the prayers every morning for the rooms, and I will be starting a prayer channel in 2024. It's one of my things that been planning on doing it. That was the best way of handling this. It'll be 24 hours praying for people that drop, and there'll be prayer requests being posted, and people that are members can pray. But I have thousands of people that'll pray. And I know a lot of you are believers, and a lot of you are prayer warriors. But I also know that a lot of you have had a lot of trials in the last year, right? And in the last several years. And I've been reading some of the comments from individuals who are in their spouses have cancer, or they themselves have been, I know personally, are dealing with, especially cancer. It's a very demonic illness. And having gone through it now twice in my family history, that we've been dealing with this with loved ones, and now personally at home, really close with my mom, I know the type of pain and suffering that people endure with this, and it really did change my thinking on a lot of things about life in general. But one thing we never as a family lost faith in, and that is in the healing power of Jesus Christ. So I want to tell you all that. So that's one primary reason I'm making this Max Bytes now. And I admit I'm sorry again, it's been so many weeks, actually been months, I think, since I did the last one. But having gone through this terrible, horrendous period for a better part of a year, and especially the summer and early fall having to deal with this. But I mean, just praise God. I am pleased to say my mom's cancer free and the Lord came through, and the Lord can use different ways. Sometimes it's just miraculous healing. Sometimes he does bless the hands of the physician. So sometimes it's through a physician's hands. Sometimes it's through an alternative treatment of some sort or a treatment of some sort. But thank the Lord, that problem has been eradicated from my family, and it can happen to you too. Don't lose faith. Reach out to Jesus Christ and put your faith 1000% in him, and don't look left or right. Never lose sight of it, because faith is believing truly when common sense tells you not to. So it's taking that extra leap, and that's when the miracles take place. Okay? That's really it. I've seen that multiple times in my life in a host of issues. So it's like people wonder sometimes, they go, Max, how do you stay so positive? How do you manage to get through these different episodes? We've all been together through, essentially wars now emotionally, when it comes to the Biden administration, when it comes to, the government and the way it's been acting, the way it goes after patriots, the way people have been censored, the way people have been abused, the way people are locked up indefinitely for the silliest and stupidest crimes. So how do you stay positive in that environment? Well, it's not me. It's the Lord inside of me. That's what I tell people when they talk to me personally, socially, and they talk in my rooms and whatnot. I talk a lot like this because I socialize a lot. I answer a lot of questions, on Maximus Premium, for instance, which, by the way, if you're not a member of Maximus Premium, I highly recommend it. Reach out to Roxy Balboa, the number one, at gmail.com. We're running a special this month for those that want to try it out, 76% off. It's really a smoking deal. Just try it out for a month. You'd love it. But it's like being in class with me, in a sense, virtually, 24/7. And I answer a lot of questions. I tell people this, but I've said it publicly too, that, I mean, it's the Lord inside of me. I keep my faith and I don't lose sight of it. In fact, the more trials I go through, the stronger I become. So it's it's sort of like what Obi-Wan said to Darth Vader: if you strike me down, I'll become more powerful than you could possibly imagine. And so, it's that kind of a thing. But this is reality, spiritual reality. So anyway, but I just want to encourage you to stay, wherever you are, whatever you're going through, remember this: you were created by the Lord for a purpose. Reach out to him and find out what that purpose is. And it's not to suffer. Okay. And suffering makes you stronger. Okay. Now, there are times when people suffer for punishment. That's something different. That's to teach a lesson. But people that are like done nothing wrong and they are enduring, all of a sudden get, why are you getting sick all of a sudden? You didn't do anything, to warrant that. As a friend of mine right now, that's going through something, I'm thinking about it, and it's another disease. And it's like, you know what? The Lord's going to heal you from that. It's to put your trust totally in him and make you stronger. And then you can go out and you can actually communicate with other people and encourage them. It's one of the things you usually take away from trials and tribulations, and that's to actually go out and you can become a better person in public to encourage others that are going through those things. Because like the Bible says, it rains on the just and the unjust. So it's not like, just because you're a good person in the Lord doesn't mean that you're not going to ever have problems in life. Anyway, wanted to tell you all of that and share all of that with you. That's the primary part to this. The second thing I just want to discuss, I know we're seeing a lot of going on in the world right now, and I know since the last Max Bytes, there's been an additional indictment. Now, there's 4 indictments of the president. I'm just going to say this flat out. I am covering these on Maximus Premium a lot. We are discussing this usually like every other day. Something about the indictments come up, sometimes every few days. But we talk a lot about this, a lot of questions. I'm just going to say briefly, none of these indictments are going to go anywhere long term. Will he be convicted? I think he'll be convicted on some crime, quote unquote crime. But on appeals, he's going to win an appeal. It won't disqualify him from running for office, President Trump, and he will be able to run. He is running. He will be able to, he will be on the ballot. For instance, you can't take him off of the ballot for what are they trying to do? They're trying to use, in all these states, I've been saying this, for weeks and months now, you can't remove him from state ballots. It's unconstitutional. And I go through this ad nauseum on all my channels, really. There's an entire piece I wrote on this. I think I reposted it today on Twitter. But you can't use the Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, because that's to disqualify him, because there's never been an insurrection. And I don't know where they think they get this from, but as you can see, Democrat state courts are just dismissing the cases. Federal courts are just dismissing the cases because they don't even have standing, frankly, the people bringing the suits to remove them from the ballot. So it's not happening. I'm not worried about it. And if they did disqualify him, or they did remove, I should say, they did remove him from office, it doesn't stop anyone from writing in his name, which everybody would do. Period. I mean, everybody would just do that. So when they say they're going to remove his name from Minnesota ballot, oh well, big deal. Or the Michigan ballot, oh well, big deal. If they actually did it, people would just write his name in. Regarding him being actually incarcerated, a lot of never Trumpers / DeSantis supporters some of them are saying that he'll be incarcerated and he'll be serving time. He's never going to serve time. Not in a jail. That's why he's never held in jail when he's arraigned, before he's arraigned, when he gives himself in, like everybody gives himself up to the court. That's for booking. That's never, typically you get arrested and you're actually jailed, at least for a few hours. He never is, because they can't put him in a jail cell, because he's protected by the Secret Service, because it's impossible practically. He's entitled. And I want everybody to understand something. The President of the United States and the former President of the United States is entitled to lifelong Secret Service protection under the Secret Service Act. The Presidential Secret Service Act. I can't remember the exact wording of the name. Go look it up. And the fact is that he can't be protected. By the way, that's mandated by an act of Congress, that the current president can't deny him presidential or Secret Service protection. He has nothing to do with this. So in other words, Joe Biden has nothing to do with the Secret Service detail around Donald Trump, period. End of conversation. Okay? The reason Robert F. Kennedy Jr. does not have Secret Service protection is because he's not a former president. That's why Donald Trump has Secret Service protection. Now, the only time a person who isn't a former president, okay, and he's not president, and he gets Secret Service protection detail, is when he's the official nominee of a major political party. That's tradition. So, for instance, Donald Trump got his first Secret Service detail when he became the Republican nominee for president. Okay. Joe Biden had it, or had Secret Service protection as the ex-vice president. It's like temporary for a few years or something like that. And then when he became the Democratic nominee for president, he was also given Secret Service protection. So, for that reason. So that's something you have to understand, that they can't. The former president can say, I don't want to have Secret Service protection. He could request that he doesn't have it, but you can't take it away from him forcibly. Okay, so with that, having said that, where is he going to put his entourage of Secret Service agents, right? His bodyguard. Where are they going to go when he's in a jail cell? Where are they going to go when he's in prison? You're going to put him in a federal prison when they're going to have 20 guards around him all the time? We're going to have the cell doors open. They're going to take over an entire wing of the prison. And then how do you protect him in there when you know crimes take place inside of prisons? It's not even practical. So the most he would get, even if he got convicted, is he'd get a slap on the wrist and he'd be sent to Mar-a-Lago under house arrest. And from there, he'd run his campaign. And you can't stop him. By the way, people can, they're going to stop him from campaigning. What do you think, he can't campaign on his phone? What do you think he ran his whole campaign from? Rallies and his phone, tweeting. So he would just go to doing virtual rallies with everybody while he's appealing the court decision, which would be immediately appealed to a higher court, possibly the U.S. Supreme Court, that would say, no, I don't think so. They're going to vacate that decision. So I'm not worried about that. On to Israel. Let's talk about Israel really briefly. And by the way, if you're enjoying this, if you're enjoying all of this, I highly recommend you join me for the Civics Maximus preview. What's that, Max? The Civics Maximus preview is my last seminar of the year, and it's going to be December 1st and 2nd. The encore will follow. So we do have an encore dates. We haven't determined which days those will be, but it'll be in December, of course. So that seminar is going to be very special because we're going to be looking into the future. Now, this is going to be a seminar dedicated to frank discussions on the legalities, all of the president's indictments, the primary, where things I believe will be next year at this time, or I should say by summer and then into the fall of next year, and then how things could possibly shake out in the elections. We'll be talking about the presidential election. We'll be talking about the independent candidates. We have, of course, like I said, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. We have Joe Biden, of course. We have Jill Stein. We have Colonel West. 4 Democrats running for president. 3 of them are running as independents against 1 Republican conservative, Donald Trump. And then, of course, there's the possibility of Joe Manchin getting into the race. How is this going to shake out? Interpreting all these polls, can we trust them? Then, of course, I'll be discussing the Senate races, the House races, select ones, as sort of like kind of give you an introduction into my thinking before we actually get to the hard projections of where things are going to go. And I love to sit down the year of the election and actually in seminars, I've been doing this now for 3 years, where I give hard projections of where things are going to go. And then, of course, in Civics Maximus preview, we're also going to discuss election reform legislation, which nobody's talking about. I'm going to give an update on that. Many states, over 20 states, have reformed their elections codes in the last 2 years. So we're going to be discussing that. And there's lots of legislation pending this year. A lot of the states have updated their election codes. So we're going to be discussing that. And then, of course, we're going to talk about voting techniques and get out the vote, GOTV. And we're going to talk about voting like a Democrat and what this actually means for the Republican Party. So you definitely want to join me for this. It's going to be a frank discussion for 2 days, December 1st and 2nd. Contact Roxy Balboa, the number 1, at gmail.com. Link is in the description below. You can just reach out to her, or you can DM her at Roxy_Balboa on Twitter or on Telegram, or any of the Angels and Warriors, my assistants, and you can ask them about it. I want to see you there. Join me for the party. It's going to be a lot of fun as we talk about all the stuff as we close out the year and where things could possibly go in the new year. But talking about Israel, and briefly, I'll just say this. I'm not going to really, I don't want to get into the real drill down too much onto it, but I'll just say this. There was a ceasefire on October the 6th through the morning of October the 7th, essentially. Hamas violated the ceasefire. Israel withdrew from the Gaza Strip in 2005. They should have never have done that, in my opinion. I said at the time, okay, and I wasn't online at the time, but I told people I know, mistake, they're going to have problems in the future over that. It exactly took place as I said it would. In 2006, the Palestinians Gaza Palestinians elected Hamas as their democratically elected body, representative body. So they elected a terrorist organization. And as a result, in 2007, the Egyptian government and Israel cut off all ties with Gaza and began an embargo. Now, you think, well, there's this embargo, it's Israeli-driven. It's actually Egypto-Israeli driven. The Egyptians they literally box them in. Sinai is cut off to them. They police it viciously because they don't want Hamas in their country. And the Israelis police their side and the Mediterranean too, but they do allow food, electricity, and water into Gaza before the conflict, okay? So for the past, from 2007 all the way until October 7th, there's been this embargo, and there was a ceasefire generally, although they would have conflicts now and then because sometimes Hamas would fire off a missile or a rocket or something into Israel. So it was tit for tat for many years. The Egyptians don't want the Palestinians in their country. Why? Because they can't stand Hamas. Hamas is an offshoot of what? The Muslim Brotherhood. The Muslim Brotherhood is their top terror network in Egypt. It is an arch nemesis of the Egyptian government, regardless as to who is in charge. You can go back to before the time of Sadat, before the time of Nasser, okay? And the Egyptians hate the Muslim Brotherhood, and they are a vicious terrorist organization. And their proxy, okay, we often hear about Iran's proxy as Hamas. Actually, Hezbollah is Iran's proxy. So is Hamas to a lesser extent. But Hamas is really an offshoot, an outgrowth directly associated with the Muslim Brotherhood. That's why the Egyptians won't take in refugees. Okay. And to a lesser extent, the Jordanians feel the same way. And also the Saudis feel the same way. So you have all these countries that are various levels Islamic countries, states in the region that don't want to have anything to do with people from Gaza, period. End of conversation. So the Israelis are left kind of whole in the bag, if you would, and they have their own problems because they're Jewish, and from here, from the river to the sea means annihilating Israel. Okay, that's it. Well, the bottom line is there was a ceasefire on the morning or on the evening of October 6th, and on October 7th it was violated by Hamas. Okay, when a country attacks you, you have every right to retaliate, and you can retaliate disproportionately. Dropping the atomic bombs in Hiroshima and Nagasaki resulted in the deaths of tens of thousands of Japanese civilians, but it was considered a military necessity because those were, first of all, Nagasaki and Hiroshima were military targets that were incorporated within civilian areas. Okay. And the trade off was, well, if we do an invasion of Japan, okay, it's going to cost 1 million, 2 million casualties. Well, I mean, President Truman made the decision that he should have made, drop the bombs. And when he dropped one, the Imperial Japanese government didn't say anything. 2 days later, we dropped another one. And then what happened? They surrendered. Why? They didn't know if we had 2 or 200 of these things. Okay? And that ended that conflict. And yes, civilians died. Thousands of civilians died. Okay? Nobody really questions that. It was a disproportionate response, but it ended the war and it actually saved lives on both sides. Because how many Japanese would have died if the Allies had invaded Japan? Quite a few. More civilians would have perished. So it worked out for the best. The Israelis will have to do what they have to do because they have to eradicate the problem. And that's my personal feeling, my professional feeling, and nothing's going to change that. That's where I stand on that issue. So as far as I'm concerned, no a new ceasefire for people that have violated that ceasefire, specifically a terrorist organization, until that terrorist organization is removed. And remember, they were democratically elected by the people of Gaza. And according to, I believe it's a Pew poll, you can look it up online, on October 1st, the polls, a poll that was conducted of the Palestinian areas, which includes the West Bank, in Gaza, Hamas's approval rating was about 57%, 54 to 57%. That was before the conflict began. So that's more than 1 in 2 people were still supporting them. Okay, so go figure. But Hamas does abuse its people. It uses them as human shields. Don't hand me any garbage about that not being a reality. You don't use people. You don't put terrorist tunnels that are being used for a terrorist network under hospitals, and then what are you doing that for? So when they bomb the hospital because they have to, after they give you a month to withdraw from the hospital, when you're not allowing people to withdraw, but they have to knock out that network when they do that. And by the way, did you see what today they uncovered? One of the hospitals, they uncovered the fatality. It was a Jewish woman that was abducted on October 7th. So she was being held in the hospital. What was she even there for? She should have never been abducted. Okay, I think she was a 76 or 77-year-old woman. Well, anyway, the point is, don't do that and then not expect retaliation. I'll tell you why they do that. They want the Jews to hit those sites, those targets, so then they could turn around and go, oh, look, they killed so many innocent people. Well, why were you putting that's a violation of international law to actually put your military structures or your military infrastructure deliberately in civilian areas. Yeah, so it's just that this is utter nonsense. And anybody that assaults a police officer, in my opinion, period, people that they should, if I was in charge, you'd be put away for years for doing something like that. But when you're a non-immigrant visa holder, when you are and those are the ones I'd look at straight away. When you are an immigrant or a naturalized citizen, and you're out there marching in support of a terrorist organization, and you get violent, first of all, if you're in support of terrorist organization, you better rethink your humanity, period. Okay, because don't use, I've had liberals do this to me, folks. Actually had liberals say to me, I've had debates with some very intellectual people in my time, as you can probably assume. And let me tell you, I've listened to them in academia say things like, well, they're no different than the founding fathers. They're no different than the founding fathers. I mean, after all, the American revolutionists, they did what they had to. Are you talking about guerrilla warfare on military targets, and you're comparing that to what a terrorist does? The founding fathers did not target innocent civilians. The founding fathers did not abduct men, women, and children. The founding fathers did not murder babies. The founding fathers did not take young girls and slit their Achilles heels and videotape it so they can't run away and post it. Okay, they didn't have cameras back then, I know, but I'm just saying for sake of argument. The founding fathers didn't target innocents, people. If civilians, there's always collateral damage. Some civilians, like I've been saying a few minutes ago, civilians are going to get killed. It happens. The bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. We didn't target civilians. Okay, we target military, industrial, I'm going to say complex here because that's a popular cliche, but we targeted military targets. We targeted military industry that happened to be perched within a civilian area. But we didn't target, can you see the difference here? And if you can't understand the difference between these two different actions, then you better rethink your humanity, and you better rethink everything and every way you look at whatever it is that you look at, because I question, frankly, your understanding of things. As you can see, this is a passionate subject for me. But anyway, anyone who does assault police officers, anyone who becomes violent in the pursuit of protesting for those organizations should be stripped of their immigration status. They should be stripped of their naturalization, and they should be shipped back to whatever country they came from. In fact, send them to Gaza since they think they love it so much. And you could start with the clowns that are in the House of Representatives. I don't know how those people got elected in the first place, and I am ashamed that some of our countrymen actually, and women actually in parts of the country, voted for clowns like that. And with that, I will sign off with you. God bless you all. I pray everybody has a wonderful Thanksgiving. And listen, do me a favor. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to my channel, because that's the way we beat the big tech algorithms. It's organic. I don't buy followers. I don't buy likes. I don't buy subscribers. I know a lot of accounts that do. You can almost always tell when they do. And I don't do that. It's all organic. Everything's real. And if you want to support my work, hit the PayPal button or the Venmo button, and that would be appreciative. And then any tip amount would be great. And of course, I'm telling you, join Maximus Premium, contact Roxy, join us for Civics Maximus preview in December. You're going to love it. You'd love to hang out with me on a seminar. We're going to have a frank discussion on a Friday and Saturday night for several hours, and it's going to be great. I've been doing seminars now. It's going to be 3 years. We're coming up on the 3-year mark, and it has been a terrific time. I've had thousands of people attend now, and it has been terrific. Everybody's got stories to talk about, and some of us we like to hang out afterward around the campfire, basically virtually, and just discuss everything and shoot the breeze. It's a lot of fun, but it's also educational. Also, like I said, premium. Ask Roxy about the 76% discount on Maximus Premium for trying it out. You won't be disappointed, I guarantee it. God bless you all. Stay in prayer, and we will be talking again soon. And definitely leave a comment. Let me know if you liked it, and I will do another one sooner rather than later. God bless you all. Ciao.